Welcome, everyone, to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, The Sounds of Your Soul. 7 weeks of dynamic vocal practices to expand your expression, creativity, and capacity for love. I'm Lisa Bonise, and I'm really excited to be hosting this Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll explore the teachings of Chloe Goodchild and address questions about her upcoming 7-week course, The Sounds of Your Soul, which begins Monday, October 15th. Later, I'll explain how you can participate in this course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, I want to introduce our guest. Chloe Goodchild is an international singer, educator, author, and founder of The Naked Voice and its UK charitable foundation, which is dedicated to the realization of compassionate communication in all realms of human life. Deafness in childhood catalyzed Chloe's deep encounter with her inner self and began a lifetime's experiential research into the voice as a catalyst for personal evolution and global transformation. Her memoir, The Naked Voice: Journey to the Spirit of Sound, tells the story of these formative early years. And Chloe's recent book, The Naked Voice: Transform Your Life Through the Power of Sound, is an instructional guide that introduces the essential teachings of the naked voice. And in just a few minutes, we're going to open up for your questions for Chloe. But first, I want to welcome Chloe Goodchild because she's going to begin our conversation by leading us in a sound awareness opening practice. Welcome, Chloe. It is so good to talk to you again.
Hi, it's great to be here. Great. Looking forward to connecting with everyone and hearing what people's questions are. And it's great to see you again, Lisa. Thanks for opening for us also. Well, so here I'm just going to start out with my little bell here, which is being made by a very dear friend of mine called Maya Morgan. So my gratitude to you, Maya, for this sounding bell. So I just would like to invite you, first of all, to close your eyes and just really relax into your body. I'm just going to play this little bell, and I want you just to follow the sound of this bell. Just listen to it very carefully. So this place where we are when the sound comes to a close is really where we are going, where we're traveling. We're traveling home to the source of sound itself. And I'm aware that in the introduction to this Q&A, there was a text saying that I was going to introduce you to to a really powerful sound, a way of sounding that can really strengthen your own non-judgmental listening and disappear all narratives and the whole historical narrative of your life in one fell swoop. So when I was actually reflecting on this description, which I co-created with the Shift team, I realized that in reality, what we're here for all together is to awaken to the reality that your sound is the most powerful sound, the sound that you uttered when you were born, the sound that comes out of you when you are making love, the sound that is uttered when you are in deep surprise or disconnection or awakening to an entirely new cycle of life. There are so many sounds that come out of you that have been expressed by you And many of them, very often the most powerful ones, we can just simply toss away as if they're just like doodles. They're just songs that are just fleeting through the mind, that they don't matter. This couldn't be further from the truth. And what we're really going to rein in and harness within ourselves is our own attention to our own sound. And that means traveling through the vehicle of our own sound right back to the source of sound itself. And that whole question of who are you? Who is singing? Who is this one that is singing? Is really at the absolute anchoring root of every single practice that we will be sharing together. So just to begin right now, just close your eyes for a moment and just remind yourself why you are here. What brought you to this 1 hour question and answer session? And breathe. And really just let that breath come in and out without anything in the way. No need to rush the breathing or to slow it down in any kind of meaningful way. Just be totally present to the breath as it is right now. And just find yourself smiling as you're breathing. Just like a little inner smile. And as you smile, notice how that smile just opens up the belly a little bit and just relaxes the diaphragm a little bit. And then just let that smile move into just like a little gentle laughter, like and just notice where that laughter is coming from too. It's like, where does that come from? You know, just enjoy, just the involuntary sound of your own unique voice laughing. And just be aware of where that laughter is coming from. Yes, just you may just even want to place your hands on your belly. And just coming back to just the breathing and the laughter, just letting that laughter go. And breathing into the hands are just placed on the belly. And just bring your awareness now right down beneath that laughter, that belly sound, right to the root of yourself, to the anchor point, to the root chakra. And then take your awareness on down into your feet, 1,000 miles down into the earth's core. And anchor yourself there. And just let everything go. Just let yourself be at one, anchored in the earth. Ma Gaya, root chakra. And just sounding Lam. Lam. Fully present in the root of the body, bringing the awareness into the center of your pelvis. Vam. And as you say the sound vam, hear how that v sound, how that actually activates the muscles there. Vam. awareness into the solar plexus. Ram, fire in the belly. Ram. And enjoy the as well. Sounding Ram into the solar plexus. Ram. And then bringing the awareness into the center of the chest. Yum, yum. Have that sense of something absolutely delicious in the center of the chest. And just be aware of a big light shining in the center of your chest. Yum. Yum. Letting the awareness rise up from the heart center into the throat center. Hum. And just be aware of the center of your throat as a big, open, spacious sky. And as you breathe in on the hum sound, breathe in with the lips slightly open. Bringing the awareness on up from the throat center, up into the third eye, into the middle of your head. As it connects with the third eye, the witnessing mind, the compassionate witnessing mind. And imagine like a real beam of light activated by the pineal gland in the middle of the head and shooting out through the third eye into the universe like a massive strobe light that's just able to send light around the entire globe. And be aware of just the power of this witnessing eye, this third eye that connects the left and the right eye and makes a triangle of awareness. Right eye, left eye, third eye. That third eye integrates, unifies the left-right brain and brings it into a third place, beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing. Om. Finally, bringing your awareness on up to the crown of the head. Be aware of the space behind the head. And then bring your awareness up as if you're drawing up from the spiral at the back of your head. That mystical point of consciousness. And bringing your awareness right up to the crown, connecting with the sky. Soham. I am whole. I am that. Soham. And just take a big breath, and with your awareness right up at the crown of the body, just feel this immense gratitude from the sky itself, from the whole universe, and just gratitude for the wholeness of yourself, of your life, with all its idiosyncrasies, all its dark and light sides. all its patterning, its genealogy, all its ways of loving and expressing itself. And bring your awareness right down from the crown, as if there is just this like invisible line of energy just touching in on the crown and just sinking down through the center of the head, down through the third eye, the pineal gland, descending down into the throat center, relaxing the shoulders into the heart center, down into the solar plexus, the pelvis, the root, and on down into Gaia Earth again. And then just gently open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, take a good look. Just take a good look at whatever you're seeing in front of yourself right now. And just behold what you are seeing, just as if from the middle of the forehead. So what you're seeing may be something very familiar, or it may be something new, someone you haven't seen before. And just allow yourself to see. And now to see from your hands, wherever your hands are now. Imagine your eyes in your hands. Seeing with your eyes, seeing with your arms, your right arm and your left arm, embodying your seeing in your right arm and your left arm and your shoulders and the back of the neck and the whole of the neck and the whole of the chest. Seeing with the whole of your chest and the whole of your torso. Really embody your seeing and your listening. And bringing the awareness down into the pelvis, seeing with your whole pelvis and your thighs and your knees. Bringing your awareness right down into the calves and the feet. This whole body is made of music, and your music is unique like no other. And we're here to really explore the whys and the wherefores, the questions you have about finding your voice, these sounds in your soul that may still be hidden. How might we find them together? And I have a little poem here. Which was just shared with me by a lovely poet called Mark Nepo earlier on. And this poem, these words he wrote, the things that happen to us are trying to have a conversation. To make us stop or turn around. The things that matter are waiting for us to drop down after the first conversation has relaxed our will. Then they will shine their light without warning, like a doctor, into the back of our eyes and ask, how long have you avoided resting? If we answer truthfully, they will introduce us to beauty, who after a time will make us cry and throw our judgments into the sea. So let's throw all our judgments into the sea and move into the next stage of our time together here with Shift. Huge gratitude once again to Shift for this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Chloe. I will be coming back to this video to do that practice again and again. Thank you. That was very powerful.
Great. Great
stuff.
pleasure. Great privilege.
Yeah. So as Chloe mentioned, we have the rest of our time together to dive into our viewers' questions for Chloe as we prepare for her upcoming course. Again, that's called The Sounds of Your Soul, and it begins Monday, October 15th. And if you want to check out the website, sort of follow along with us and learn more about the 7-week course, you can visit soundsofyoursoul.com to see the full description. It's down there at the bottom of your screen. So let's go ahead and get started with questions. We've got lots of them pouring in already. If you have a question for Chloe, go ahead and type it in. Yes, lots of stuff. I'll be happy to read them out loud if you want to type them in. Let's start with a question here from Sam, who says, does it matter where the sound comes from in your body? I've heard of singing from your diaphragm, though I don't know what that is.
Well, do you know what? All that matters is that you are even asking that question. That's fantastic to be asking that question. And that question, where does this sound come from, is all that matters. It actually doesn't matter at all where it's coming from. Some of us are what I call ascending people. You know, our life is we're like sky dancers. You know, we see life as if we're soaring through the sky, or as if we're floating, or our attention is always rising up and away from the ground. Yeah. And for us, the sound tends to be rather like that. And so when it shows up, you know, it's it's always wanting to go that way. Some of us, like my daughter, for example, are really fantastic, grounded, rhythmically aware people who their attention is naturally to descend. They are very identified and very connected to the earth and to all things earth. And so for them, the experience of sound comes very much up through the feet and the legs and, you know, the belly. And that's, you know, I had to go to Africa and India to find that for myself. I couldn't find it in my own kind of squeaky clean, middle-class white English life in England. So I had to go off to Africa to find that more earthy sound. And now, of course, it's everywhere. Thank God. You know, we live in this multicultural universe now where we can have access to these teachers, these earth-grounded rhythmic teachers. So your diaphragm is a big sheet of muscle that is right in the middle of your body, as you're probably aware. And it appears to divide the upper and the lower torso. So when you breathe in, if you just try that, just breathing in, like imagine you're just suddenly breathing in, somebody's just told you something that's really made you go, oh, wow, like that. Okay. What happens when you do that is the diaphragm, in order to make space for the breath in your lungs, just automatically descends down like a cone down and makes space for the lungs to fill up more. And then when you breathe out, that diaphragm comes back up. It's a very, very powerful muscle, and we need to give a lot of attention to it in terms of strengthening our intention. It really helps us to breathe with real vitality, with physicality. It helps us to remember to be fully physical when we breathe. And it helps us to really strengthen, certainly the belly voice, okay? So that laughter, for example, you'll find when you laugh, the diaphragm goes up and down, up and up and down, up and down. So like all the little air molecules above the diaphragm are all bouncing up and down like little vibrational molecules. I always have this vision of them like just enjoying that. You know, when we laugh, all your little molecules of air inside you laughing and enjoying that vibrational dance. So as much laughter as you can bring to this course, the better. Laughter and tears, I would hasten to add. Both we love. I hope that answers your question a little bit.
I believe so. That was a very comprehensive answer. Thank you for that. Let's go to a question from Dermot, who says, could you talk a bit about using sound as a therapeutic modality? And also, who's the yogi behind you on the wall?
This is one of my best friends. This is, and as you can see, light. She just shines with light all the time. She is Kuan Yin. So you'll probably be aware of Kuan Yin. She's like the Tara of Ireland. She is, she's a guiding light in my life. And what I'm noticing is she seems to be everywhere. Wherever I go, she shows up. I was in San Francisco recently, and somebody had a massive statue of Kuan Yin. She's the goddess of compassion. And she shows up in many forms now and is working very hard all over the world right now to remind us how to live again with compassion. In other words, how to be together and how to express heart together again. So she's very important, and she's very important in terms of assisting us to understand the nature of emptiness. Emptiness, that's to say, that place we can go to sometimes when we are just free of all busy egoic mind stuff. And so we'll be certainly exploring how we can empty our minds more over the next 7 weeks so that we can just allow the flow of your unique voice to pour through you like never before. I hope that's answered everything you asked for.
The first part of the question was, can you talk a bit about using sound as therapeutic modality?
Yeah. Well, the emptiness piece is certainly a very significant part of that therapeutic nature of the way that we work with the voice. So I'll just give you a little example of an exercise we do where you just you move through, you dissolve all ideas of not being a singer, for example. So you have to let go of that, or thinking you're not a singer, or you haven't got a voice, or you were told to shut up or be quiet, and there are a lot of narratives that we all carry that have made us perhaps quite tense around our voices, or quite lonely, or quite separate, thinking that everybody else has got strong voices except for ourselves. And so what I love to do is just to invite you to just make a habit of connecting, feeling the way you feel with sound. So if I was to ask you now, how do you feel? So I can't actually see you at the moment, but wherever you are, just allow yourself, without any thought at all, to just express how you feel. So I'll just express how I feel right now. I didn't think about that. That's just what sang out of me. So then my question is, where does that come from? And then that might trigger memories. It might trigger a story. So then we start to explore the story sometimes. That's one direction we sometimes take. And we learn through this new embodying of sound, through these 7 sounds, we learn where that story is located in the body. And then we learn to find the music of that story, find new ways of expressing that story and the beings within that story. And sometimes that can be really quite radical and fierce. And other times it can be really gentle and surprisingly positive, Sometimes a person, I will ask somebody, how do you feel? And they say, well, I feel really frightened. So I say, well, what does frightened sound like? And when they start to connect with the sound of fear, which can be sheer self-consciousness, sheer inhibition around doing anything but speaking. And so that is a kind of scary thing, to suddenly take the lid off your speaking voice and find yourself going, ah, you know. But very often what happens is you discover that that fear is actually awe in disguise. But that's a longer conversation, and sometimes it takes a little while to feel the connection between fear and awe. We were born for wonder. We were born to wonder. As children, we wonder. And as awake adults, we remember to wonder again, to wonder at the whole of life. And that wondering just takes the lid off our self-consciousness. And the way we help with that in this work is that we not only focus on the sound, but on the quality of silence that the sound leaves behind. And as soon as I'm asking you or myself to practice this, it's really interesting, because as soon as you're concentrating on the quality of silence that the sound leaves behind, you're no longer self-conscious. You're more interested in this connection between your sound, where it's going, where it's leading you, and how you feel when the sound disappears. So all these things we're going to be investigating, and these 7 sounds of the soul are really portals into a whole myriad of sounds that you are made of. And we're going to find that. I call these sounds, they're like your whole body is like a symphony of sound, a symphony of love. Okay, and that's why we talk a lot about each of these 7 sounds of the soul are equated with 7 locations of love, 7 qualities of love. And it's the love and our connection with these different locations of love from earth to heaven and back again that can assist us to remember how to express ourselves ultimately with the whole spectrum of consciousness. So that's what we're exploring.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. And if you're just joining us, we're here with Chloe Goodchild, learning about her upcoming course, The Sounds of Your Soul, which begins Monday, October 15th. And you can log on to soundsofyoursoul.com for all the details and to register. Let's move on to a question here from Molly that sort of takes where you just were and brings it a little further. Molly says, when I was a child, I used to scream when my brothers would tease me, just open up and shriek long and loud. In that same time frame, I was diagnosed with a hernia, and the doctor said it was from all the screaming. Since then, I don't use my voice the way I'd like to for fear of physical consequences, and didn't realize this was the case until I listened to your conversation with Stephen Dinan. Can taking your course help me find a healthy way to express frustration without harming myself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We all carry these very sensitive stories. And certainly being teased or being made into a clown or being made to feel inferior, clearly you have a very strong spirit that was, very able and willing to come to express itself in response to your siblings. And of course, as you rightly discovered, that just kind of exhausting expression which comes from frustration and doesn't go anywhere, just literally leaves us feeling very, depleted. And of course, the body inevitably will respond to that. And so the message you got there, perhaps, so the hernia, if you like, may well have been connected with the screaming experience. And it may just also been connected with all kinds of tensions that were around the narrative that you're sharing with us. So thank you for sharing that story, because I think probably many people, many of us carry these old memories, and we carry them around in our bodies like kind of frozen music. And so our work is to really bring a quality of presence, a quality of listening, and a way of being with these stories that is nourishing, that is respectful, that is honoring, that is forgiving. And each of these ways of being have their own music. And so we listen to you. We will listen to you. And of course, in the course, there will be plenty of opportunity for you to work in breakout sessions with 2 other people, so that you can really explore this skillfully and kindly, with kindness. And I think you'll find something very special can happen. You're really inviting us to open up an understanding around sound as medicine. So more of that will be on its way with this course. Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. Thanks. I've got a question here from Monica, who says, how do I figure out what old beliefs I need to let go of if I'm not consciously aware of them? And when I do figure that out, how can this help to let it go?
Well, that's very good, because sometimes if you just randomly just sort of calling stuff out, it can mean that you're sort of sounding out from somewhere in your head, that in some way would like to be a little bit more connected with the rest of its body, so that the body can join in the conversation. That may or may not be relevant to what you're saying. But I think the point is, it's not really a question of, am I going to do this course or not? I think your voice, which is it's like your most intimate friend you ever had, your voice. It's like your conscience. It's like the deepest part of your intuitive mind. It's the mouthpiece of your intuitive mind. And if your intuition is starting to listen to this and it's going, wow, this might be worth checking out, that simple act of asking the question, as you're doing now, is it possible that just by sounding out, I can access something authentic within myself? We don't know at that point. And don't know and uncertainty are a really important part of this work. I know even in new science, there's that description of the uncertainty principle that is so integral to consciousness itself. We must be willing to take risks. That's my sense of something about what you're opening for us here. What you're teaching us is our courage to explore taking a few risks and seeing. And as just to say once more that the connection between your sound and the silence that follows it is also as important. So it's not just about voicing out relentlessly, it's not like that, because that just becomes a kind of psychodrama, which just gives your busy mind more kind of exciting stories about itself, to talk about at dinner parties or whatever, but doesn't exactly help you to really embody your soul. And it's your soul that your voice is all about, your authentic voice, your naked voice. This is the voice of your soul, not your head. And it's thankfully found in the human body, as well as everywhere. Who was it once said, we don't have a soul, we are a soul. And so the sounds that come through you, the sounds that are wanting to be ejaculated out of you, if you like, are all part of the journey. So it's time to listen to them, I would say. But at that point, it's none of my business. It's you will know, your intuitive mind already knows whether this is a practice and a journey you want to take on. And obviously, we very much hope you will. Thank you so much for the question. Very, very important, very courageous.
All right, thank you. We have time for a few more questions looking at the clock here, but before we take those, I want to give a few details about the course itself. We're getting questions about that. Again, it's called The Sounds of Your Soul, and this is going to be a really powerful 7-week journey under Chloe's expert guidance where you'll receive simple practices that vocalize the 7 tonal energies of your soul to heal old narratives and liberate your authentic self. And the 7-week course takes place on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific, starting Monday, October 15th. And if you can't join us live, a lot of people are asking that. That's fine. You won't miss the teachings. You will receive audio and video recordings, transcripts, and all course handouts on your course homepage. And also, I'd like to remind everyone that the Shift Network offers a no-risk money-back guarantee on all of our courses, giving you a full 2 weeks until October 29th in this case to make sure that it's a good fit. We want you to be happy. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect in a private Facebook community group so you can stay connected with one another. Also, everyone who registers receives the Sounds of Your Soul bonus collection. First, you'll receive selections from the Voices for Compassionate Evolution dialogues featuring audio conversations between Chloe and some of her favorite transformational teachers. And next, you'll get a PDF book chapter and an exclusive video from Chloe entitled 7 Sounds of Love. Then you'll receive an audio track with Chloe from the album The Rooms called Taking a Hand in the Company of Angels. And when you register by midnight Pacific on Wednesday, October 10th, you'll receive this additional bonus gift, and that is downloadable audio tracks from Chloe entitled Mahamaya. So before we get back to questions, Chloe, let me ask you a question here. What are you most looking forward to sharing in your upcoming course?
I tell you, Lisa, I am so excited about this course. I think I'm more excited about this course than I've ever been about anything I have ever taught, which may sound perhaps a little surprising, but I tell you, I have wanted to teach a course like this with this depth of simplicity for a very long time. These 7 sounds are such extraordinary portals into just exploring the whole human journey. You know, it's not just about singing. Let's be really clear about that. It really is about waking up and waking up to your intention, waking up to your true call for this lifetime, waking up to integrating all your language of love. But I think what most excites me is the absolute simplicity of it. The fact that we are going to be exploring and focusing in on one sound every week. I have to tell you that one of my students in Ireland literally took this so seriously for herself that she researched the first root chakra sound, Sa, for 7 years. Now, I'm not suggesting we're going to be doing that because we're doing it just for a week, if you like. But I think the attention we're going to bring to each of these locations of consciousness is going to be so profound. And it's also just going to restore and help us to remember and reveal really what the true significance of sound is, not only for our personal lives, but for the collective story right now, which, as we can see, there's a lot of turmoil out there. And it's very clear to me as the different disciplines of psychology, religion, education, medicine, new science, they are all coming towards this work in different forms. Representatives from those different fields are coming towards this work now and really wanting to discover that they're finding out, as Stephen said, that this particular dimension of sound work is like the missing link, if you like. It's the missing link in our capacity to really embody our authentic communication. So that is what I'm listening for, and I'm really listening out for very committed, courageous, co-creative people who really, really want to just let go of the dramas of the egoic mind so that we can really go deep together and let our sound be the portal for that journey. I see it very much as a beginning, these 7 weeks. It's like another beginning. It's like a renaissance for me with this work, which has been going on for a very long time in my life. And so I can only believe that I've been training for 30 years to meet everybody that's about to show up on this 7-week course with this quality of simplicity. So it's the simplicity and the depth is what I'm really excited about, that we're going to be able to find together.
All right. Sounds wonderful. I'm looking forward to it myself. We've got a question here about the sounds specifically, actually two. So let me read them both. First, Sahara says, are the tones equivalent to the Western scale do, re, mi? And then Dee Dee says, is it important to use exactly the sounds sa, re, ga, etc.? Or can I use the way those sounds are vocalized in my own language? They're different as letters, but the sounds and music notes are the same.
Lovely. I'd love to know what her language is. Yes to all of that. These are just like launching pads, these sounds, which I use. They're just like the do, re, mi, except they're the Indian mantric alternative sounds. And they came just organically out of my own relationship with Indian musical philosophy. And it was really through the spiritual philosophy of India combined with the way that music is practiced, not only in India, but in all indigenous cultures. And that includes our Celtic lineages and our Sanskritic lineages, our Gaelic lineages, all our indigenous and wisdom lineages. So they all have this grounding in the unchanging note, okay? And that is what is such an important metaphor for how we find our voice. We've lost that unchanging place, that place which is just stillness incarnate, stillness within ourselves. And that note is the ground, it's the first root note of the scale in Indian music. And it was when I discovered that I could sing, wow, that was so lovely. I just stayed on one note. And we'll be exploring this musically, how if you just stay on the sa, okay? So I've got here a little piano underneath me. And let me just give you an example. Let's see if we can do this. So that, for example, would be the sa, right? Can you hear that okay, Lisa? Is that coming through?
Yes, we can hear it fine.
Good. Now, in Western music, what happens is that unchanging note, sa, changes. It modulates. It goes up to here, goes up to here, and then it comes down and it goes all over the place. In Indian music, what I learned was there's just this unchanging note. And then I can find how the anchor of my being is like a metaphor for the anchor of my being, that anchor note, right? I can then find out how these different I can start sliding around with my voice and exploring in ways that my Western education didn't allow me to, with the same subtlety. And there's something about that anchoring note that I've happened upon in Indian, classical Indian singing that's so grounding and so calming. So I translated that into the spiritual language of my own experience as well, as the unchanging presence, or like unconditional love. So everything we're going to be doing, the sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, or if you want to call it do re mi fa sol la ti do, or another language, yes, please, let's learn. Let's find as many ways we can of ascending and descending through the body, whatever it takes to really embody our sound. So yeah, let's become like a sort of research laboratory of language as well. Let's explore all the different languages for the same journey. Yeah. And when I say the same journey, there is this apparent, you know, da re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga di sa do re mi fa sol la ti do. You know, but yeah, let's hear that in Swahili. Let's hear it in Maori. Let's hear it in Gaelic. Let's hear it. You know, absolutely. I'm open to anything. So there is this sense of we are in a massive cooking pot of consciousness as well. So as you begin to reveal your own sound to yourself, you start to hear modes and moods of singing. So the word mood is so close to the word musical mode. So, for example, if you're singing, if you're feeling like quite joyful, you know, you might be like, aha, you know, la da da, you know, or you might be a little bit uncertain, aha. And what's really far out is when you say, I'm feeling a little bit uncertain, and then you go, well, what does uncertainty sound like? It just has its own music. You don't have to go, right, well, I'm not a musician, so there's no way I could do that. The sheer, raw, original feeling is the music. And we start to make this seamless connection between the feeling and the sound and the music of the mood of your soul. So we start just really unpacking and unraveling what that is, you know. And so that gets very exciting. And each of these musical sounds, I am, I open, I will. They have intentions as well. I give, I share, I serve, I surrender, I own. And then there are thousands of ways of making that journey, the ascending journey. You know, it might be, I am, I open. It might be more like that, you know. I will, you know. Or it might be, I give, you know. It'll be, you'll find out. And so we're going to really explore how your emotions can lead you into the music of your soul. And these are just springboards. Each of these 7 sounds are springboards into the whole garden of your sound. Massive. It's really massive. But not overwhelming. It doesn't have to be overwhelming, because that connection with the source sound holds you in this unchanging presence, which, you know, somebody just said to me recently, once you start becoming aware that there's something bigger than yourself, you're a mystic. There's nothing you can do about it. You can be an atheistic mystic, or you can be an agnostic mystic. But whatever if you're aware that there's just something bigger than yourself, you don't want to call it God, you don't want to call it, give it any fancy name. You just are aware that there's something bigger than oneself, that's where poetry comes in. Oh Lord, my boat is so small. How can this great love be inside me? Things like that. So poetry will come in. You'll find yourself writing poetry and songs, and there's no end to it. There's no end to this beauty.
All right, wonderful. Let's see if we can squeeze in one last question. Got a question here from Meg that says, how do you use these teachings with children?
Yes. Well, it's this is what I call, it's like being conscious children. So what I've noticed is, and certainly my students and facilitators are demonstrating this, that, oh my goodness, children so get this, and they love it. They absolutely love it. And so as much as I can encourage people to share this with their children or with children at school, as in teaching and so on, we want to bring this into all schools, definitely. Music education is so identified with performance, with impressing. And a lot of children suffer as a result, because if they can't sing, the right vocal pitch that the choral teacher wants, they're out of the choir or whatever it is. And what's the point? I mean, what's that about? When we as music teachers, we must listen to what the vocal range of our children is, and then to sing from there. And then what happens is, as they build confidence, then the vocal range naturally just expands. So there's a lot that children can teach us about this. This particular experience of bringing exploring the different intentions and the different qualities of each interval, the I am, I open, I give, I am, I open, I will, I give, I share, I serve, I surrender, I am. That was given to us by 9-year-old children. They said, oh, we know what you're doing. And one of my facilitator students literally said, okay, tell us what you understand about this. And they said, well, we'd prefer it if you gave it sort of a little bit more language. So we want to say, I am, I open, for I will, which I chose more, they wanted more like I grow, I strengthen. So also I will encourage you to have your own, really build your own language too, to make your own language for this journey. So yes to children. Bring it on.
All right. Okay. Wow. Well, this has been just a truly enlightening hour. I'm not surprised at all. I want to thank our viewers for being with us today and for all of your great questions. Once again, The Sounds of Your Soul
Absolutely.
starts Monday, October 15th. And again, you can visit soundsofyoursoul.com to learn more or to register. So before we go, Chloe, do you have any final words for our viewers?
I would simply say, out beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing field. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there.
That song always gives me goosebumps. Thank you again, Chloe. It's always a delight to spend time with you.
Very much. It's a great, great privilege to be here, and thank you everyone for the quality of your listening and for your inquiry. It's so precious. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shift. Thank you, Sounds of Your Soul. Let's find them. Let's be found by them.
All right. Well, once again, Thank you to everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course or perhaps another one in the future. Have a great day, everyone.